The London. Okay, so let's discuss strategies now. Number one strategy is, there's several strategies which we can discuss, right? Mostly, I maintain a blog site over this website, so I have listed some of the strategies here. So if you go for the VSA, volume price analysis, we got opening range breakout strategy. Okay, this one here. There is an entire explanation of everything. I think you know this all, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You know this all, right? Shortening of thrust.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have discussed most of the things already. Okay, now let's discuss with the London open strategy. Okay. Whiteboard. Hello. Can you see my whiteboard? Hello, can you see my whiteboard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to discuss London open strategy. London session open strategy. This is a specific strategy, okay, which applies to 3 assets. Okay. Number one characteristic is this strategy applies to 3 assets. What are those assets? I will tell you right now. Okay. Number one is the GBP / US dollar. Number second one is Euro / US dollar. Number third one is GBP / US dollar. JPY. Okay, these are 3 main assets where I look for this London open strategy. Okay.
Okay.
So what are the steps here? I will mark down the steps now. Okay, these steps. Okay. First of all, my first step would be I will mark overnight sessions, high and low. Okay. And draw support and resistance line over these highs and lows. Okay. This will be done on 15 minutes time frame. 15 and 5 minutes time. Okay.
Okay.
So what is overnight session? Overnight session means pre London session. Okay. Pre-London open session that includes New York session close and Asian session. Got it? Any confusion here?
Okay.
So this is the first step here. Okay. The second step would be I will draw a structure, Wyckoff structure. Okay, I will draw the Wyckoff structure during overnight pre-London open session. Okay, now pre-London open session, the Wyckoff structure means, what does Wyckoff structure mean? Wyckoff structure here means Wyckoff structure such as, you can say, ascending and descending what to say, ascending, descending trading range and horizontal ranges. Got it? You know this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I will do. Okay. So first of all, I will also include one more step, which is 0. Okay. I will start by analyzing charts at least 15 minutes before London. Okay, this is the foremost step here. Okay, 3, I will identify oversold / overbought / what else? JAC / or what does it say? FTI. Whatever the situation is. Okay, depending on the situation. We can maybe we will see JAC, maybe we will see FTI, oversold or overbought. Okay, got it? Whatever the situation is. To
Okay.
identify the bias of the London trading session. Got it? The main goal is to identify the bias of the London trading session. Okay. Bias here can be 2 forms. Number 1 is bearish or bullish, whatever the case is. Okay. Okay. Number 4, I will mark Wyckoff structure with Wyckoff semantics. Okay. What do I mean by Wyckoff semantics? Wyckoff semantics means like this: behind climax, AR, secondary test, okay, up thrust,
Okay.
and then what do you have next? Up thrust, UTAD, test of up thrust, test of UTAD, okay, and then LPS, so LPSY, got it? Whatever we have, right? Falling through ice and rally back to ice, okay, etc. And then we have other things as well: selling climax, AR, secondary test, spring, we call spring as SP, spring, test of spring, okay? And then we have SOS, LPS, jump across the creek, etc. And then LPS again, okay, etc. Got it? These are the, we will mark according to the situation.
Okay.
Then the fifth step would be identify observe the spread and volume of London Open Bar. Okay, London Open HLC bar. What is the spread and volume? We will observe that. Okay. Number 6. Entries identify entry point and place optimal targets and stops. Okay. Targets and stop means targets here means TP. Okay. And stops here means SL. Okay. The minimum objective is to achieve at least 3 RRR. Okay, 1:3. 1:3 RRR. Reward to risk ratio. Risk to reward ratio. Okay. Okay. What does risk to reward ratio means? That if you are risking 1%, then we are expecting to make 3%. Got it?
Okay.
So these are the steps. Now, what is the logic? Why do this strategy applies to GBP, USD, GU, EU, and GJ? Okay. Do you understand why we apply this strategy? Why not to XAU, USD, gold, and other assets? Can you tell me why?
Because we follow
The
London
logic,
type.
yeah, the logic is, what is the logic here? I'll tell you that. The logic is to trade only those assets that give at least one of the currency as GBP or Euro. Got it? Because during London session, Euro and GBP are actively traded. Got it?
Okay.
Because during London session, GBP and Euro are actively traded. Okay. Now if you consider XAU USD, do we have GU, GBP, or Euro in it? No, right? So we cannot trade XAU USD. Make sense? Now, how about GBP and AUD? Can we trade this asset during London session? Yes, we can, but we don't trade it because it's not volatile and the spreads are very huge. So the best assets to trade are GBP, USD, Euro USD, and GBP because these are the major currency pairs, right?
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
Okay, so I hope everything is clear now. So we will start by looking at the payment session. So I will start in another chart at least 15 minutes. I will go to the chart here. I will follow it step by step. Okay. Let me show you. So let's start with, let's suppose EU, Euro USD. Okay. Now I go to the 15-minute chart. Okay, the London session opens at 12 p.m. my time. Okay, 12. So go there. This is 23. Okay, so 24, 12 p.m. Where is 12 p.m. here? So if it's 12 p.m. my time, it should be 3 p.m. your time, right? Because UTC plus 5. So it's 12 p.m. my time here. Here. Okay, so this is London Open. Right? So we'll go to 15-minute chart now. So what's the date here? 13 May. Okay, because 13 May was Friday. So this is the last one, 13 May. Okay, 13 May, 13 May. Here, roughly around here, right? All right, so what do we know? What are the first 15 minutes before we analyze, right? The second thing we need to do here, as I told you, is I will mark the overnight sessions high and low and draw support and resistance over the session, okay? Overnight session, okay? So what does it mean, overnight session? Okay, so go here, overnight session. Okay, now overnight session is this is the London Open at 12 p.m. So around, I will start when I'm here, roughly around here at this point, okay? I will start analyzing the chart when I'm around here at 11:45, which is 3:45 your time, or 2:45 your time, 2:45 p.m., right?
Okay.
Okay, so what, just before this, can you identify when was the New York when was the what to say the New York session closed? The New York session was closed roughly around this point, right? The New York session was closed roughly at around this point.
Okay.
Okay, at 3 p.m. And the lowest one was, okay, so after this overnight session, I will draw high and low over this session. Okay, high and low. So what was the highest point? From this point before London Open, what was the highest point? Overnight session high and low. So mark the highest point before London Open. Okay, so far we don't know the highest point, right?
Yep.
Because we are still actively trading. But how about the lowest point? Can you identify the lowest point from here? Before, around from this time until here, the lowest point is this one. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we mark this as the lowest point. Okay, and we will say that this point is, what do we say here? Overnight session low. Okay, and how about, let me make it small now. Let's suppose 12. Color should be black. Okay, overnight session low. Okay, overnight session low. And how about overnight session high? The highest point just before London Open. Okay, the overnight session high was the time when the London was closed. Oh, sorry, when the what to say, when the Asian session was closed. Can you tell me when was the Asian session closed here? The Asian session was closed 1 hour before the London Open. So if London Open is at this point 12, so it will close at 11. Just round about here at this point. So this is the point we will say as what do we say here? This one. Do you understand? Hello.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my what is my timing in Malaysia?
In Malaysia, let's suppose I go for UTC plus 8. This is Karachi, so yours should be UTC plus 8. Singapore, right?
Yeah.
You follow Singapore time, right? Okay. So according to Singapore time, your time should be, you can see, just below here. These are the timings you can see. 3 at 3 p.m. London Open. Okay, 1 hour before London Open is the Asian session close, which is 2 p.m. because this is when the Japanese market closes, 2 p.m. your time. Got it? Got it?
3 p.m. London close, correct?
2 p.m. is the close of Asian session. There is no
Okay.
because this is okay between Asian session and the London session, between Asian session close and London session open. This session is known as pre-London session. Got it?
Okay.
So just 1 hour before your Asian close, okay, just 1 hour before London Open, which is 3 p.m. London Open is 3 p.m. your time, then the overnight session high would be the high of the Asian session observed 1 hour before. Okay, 1 hour before the Asian session will close. Got it? 1 hour before the London session open. Got it? So this is this at this time, 2 p.m. You can see 2 p.m. So mark the highest point during this session from Asian Open, like from the New York close to Asian Open. The highest point was this one. Am I right?
Okay.
Okay. So now what do we do? We have marked Asian session high and Asian low. We'll go back and see the next chart here. Okay. I will draw the Wyckoff structure on during overnight pre-London session. Okay, Wyckoff structure ascending and descending trading ranges and horizontal ranges. So let's see if we can draw it right now. First, this is 15-minute chart. I will try to draw. Can you draw? Yes, I can draw. Right now, here what do we observe is a trend. We can say that during this session, it is what can we call this part here?
Range?
This is, we can call it as reaccumulation, right? Am I right?
Yeah, okay.
Because after this trading range, the price stops and range here. We got a spring here on a high volume. This upthrust was failed, but it's not a very high volume. This was the highest volume observed in the session, and then test of spring, and then it went up. So this was the reaccumulation because the price accumulated here, reaccumulated here, and then went up. So this is the reaccumulation, right? We observed reaccumulation before, and then after that, when was the time when we observed the first high? The first higher low. The first higher low was observed from this point, right? After the accumulation, reaccumulation. This was. See, this was the first higher low because low of this one is higher than this low. Am I right?
Yeah.
So after spring, this was the first one, right? So we got as first higher low. Now I told you that we have to draw the trading range from the first higher low. So we draw it from here. Now we draw. Okay. What do the optimum point? Just before London Open, you match this low here, this and this low. Okay, extend it, and now you're gonna clone this and put it on the last. Can you see? Now what you're gonna do, you go back to 5-minute chart and refine it. See if you can do any refine. If you can refine the chart. Yes, I can refine it by closing. If you take it closer like this, I can refine it, got it, and then I can refine this chart by bringing it closer. Okay, and this one is right. Any confusion? Yeah. Now, what steps we have to do? We have to step now the London Open. We have to go to the 3-minute chart now. Okay, the 3-minute time frame, as I told you. Okay, now we have to identify what? We have to draw the Wyckoff structure. We have to identify oversold, overbought, JAC, FTPI, whatever situation is, to identify the bias of the London trading session. Now you tell me, what is the bias of the London trading session? Can you tell me from the start whether it's bullish or bearish on a 5-minute chart?
It looks bullish.
Yeah, for now, because London Open is at this one, right? London Open was here. At what time was London Open? 3 p.m., right? London was open. This is the bias is exactly bullish, right? Because we are just breaking out of reaccumulation, and now the bias is bullish. All right. So the bias will become bearish once we observe the oversold, right? For now, what do we observe? What do we observe? What before London session? Jump across the creek. Can you see? JAC?
Yeah.
Right? So JAC identified that the bias of the London trading session is bullish. Jump across the creek. And you can see the volume as well uprising. Okay, jump across the creek. Right? We can easily see jump across the creek. So the bias is bullish. Now we identify the bias is equals to bullish. Okay. Now we are in the London session. Okay. Now we are in the London session here. Now we go to the 3-minute chart. We have identified the bias. Now what we have to do? We have to draw the Wyckoff symmetry. Okay. This is jump across the creek. All right. After jump across the creek, what happens? If we draw and extend this line here. Okay. Jump across the creek. After jump across the creek, what this line? If we extend this line here, what will you call this line? What's the price testing this line? Can you tell me? Really? LPS, last point of support. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, this LPS was actually also string. Okay, LPS string, because it has a characteristic of LPS because it's testing the jump across the, because it's testing the creek. You know, this is creek. This is creek. Right. Okay, if we say this is creek, okay, this one is JAC, jump across the creek, then obviously this one will be LPS. Right? Last point of support. Any confusion?
No.
Okay. Now we have jump across the creek, LPS, and this one would be, can you identify what this would be? This is spring. Okay, you can easily identify spring, test of spring. Spring. And this one we actually will be test of spring. Am I right?
Yeah.
TOSP, test of spring. Okay, now we have this. Okay, and what other things you can notice here? We have creek, jump across the creek. Okay, and then we have, this is also LPS, this one here. Yes, the first LPS. Okay, this one is also LPS spring. Okay, and LPS occurred during where? What? London Open. Am I right? The London Open was 3 p.m. Right? So we observed LPS. Now, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take a trade. Do you think you can take a trade over here, the entry? Yes, we can at LPS. Am I right? LPS we can. So what are you gonna do? We're gonna go along, place a stop right below this here. And what would be our target? Our target must be when we observe the overbought, right? This one. Any confusion?
No.
No, because if we just draw a line here, for example, the target here, this is the target, okay? So what I suggest, how to determine the target? You just draw a straight line just across this, okay? And you draw the horizontal line from here, right? So obviously this one, okay? So this is when the price will become overbought, right? So you will identify the target here. So how will you identify? Now, overbought occurs can occur over here. So what will be a target? I will explain. But hold on. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have jump across the creek. The target would be what I can do. I can do one more thing for the car. If I draw these two lines, okay, this was the highway, right? If I draw this channel here like this, okay, and if I expand it to this point, right over here, this, okay, between these two. This is the exact part. Can you see that target?
Yeah.
I draw this channel here across it, joining these 2 points, and then interconnecting with this high, right? So we see that as we reach this overbought area, see how perfectly everything lines up, and how much we made 2.65, right? And then you can further refine your entry on a 1 minute chart if you want. Okay, just refine your entry. The stop sign, this one is placed. Learner session will give you much more accurate. Okay, so if you go to the learner session here, what do we notice here? We see the price is just below that effort was no result. Can you see?
Yeah.
So rather than starting from here, we can start with this and place a stop just below this. Now entry is much more defined. Now we go back to the 3-minute chart. Okay, 3-minute chart and make an entry. Now you see how much we made. 6.03 lakhs. Make sense?
Okay.
Yeah. So we can refine our entry. So 1 minute chart is only used to refine our entry. That's it. So that we can get highest possible risk to reward. Okay, our risk is low and reward is much more better. Because even if our stop loss is set, we can re-enter and then make it, right?
Yeah.
The point is to get the lowest possible risk and highest possible reward. So this is how we trade learning session. All points are covered. Okay. All right, and we know the overnight session high. Now, how do we know that overnight session high will be broken? Because it was already broken before, right? Can you see jump across the creek here? An overnight session high.
Yeah.
Right over here. If you notice this point here. Okay. This was a point which is jump across the creek of the overnight session. Okay. And we can say that, okay, then this was what LPS. Make sense? After jump across this LPS.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Right.
And one more thing, I must tell you that, okay, when you're trading this learning session, right, you have to remember 2 things, right? Okay, you have to follow all the points. And now, once we have reached this overbought, what would you expect? Now you draw another line. Now, what would you expect? This is overbought, right? So now we will go opposite, exact opposite of what we observed. Okay. All right. So you can change the color of the line so that things don't get messy on chart. Okay. So this is what? Now tell me. Overbought plus buying clearance. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. And very huge volume. You can see. This is what? Tell me. Automatic reaction. Okay. This is what? Secondary test. Okay. This is what? Upthrust. UT. Okay. Upthrust. And what do we notice on upthrust? Nothing, right? Nothing usual. And then this is what? Test of upthrust. TOUT. Test of upthrust. Okay. And this is what? Now, can we enter here? No, we cannot find any signal because I told you that we either need no demand or effort versus no result. Did we see no demand here now? Did we see effort versus no result? No, because this is not effort versus no result. Yes, the volume has increased, but the spread has also increased. But if you go down here and this tested this level here, this one here, what do we notice here? This one. Spread is low and volume is increased. This is effort versus no result. Right? This is the point where I would exit, I would enter my trade. And I would go what? I would go short. And where will I exit my trade? During this LPS. Okay. Okay, the price will at least go to this point, or the price will go at this point, overnight session low. So if you go for overnight session low, okay, how much do you make? 7.98 R. And from here, how much you made? 6 R. So you can say by just trading London session, you made around 6 hours or not 12 hours per day. But you have to hold your trades for longer. So what you can do, you can just exit your trade, maybe right this 3 hours at this point. Or you can, at this point, you can exit, at this point, you can exit, at this point, you can exit. The price will go to this overnight session low. Okay, and then retest it and then go above. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah, and if you extend this line, this is further, you see how the price came back and retested the line and then go back down. Make sense?
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so, okay, I will stop this webinar and I will start again because the time is less. I will call you again.
All right.
This is session 1.